Congress Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor is easily one of the most erudite, well known, and I would say well liked faces of the Congress party. But now reports suggest that Shashi Tharoor is upset, feels marginalized, and is looking for other options, which could even include leaving the Congress. What will that say about the state of play in the Congress party? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Today, we look at what is happening within the Congress when it comes to Shashi Tharoor. A four-time member of parliament, Shashi Tharoor has attracted controversy recently because of his comments on Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States of America and his meeting with Donald Trump, and also a column that seemed to praise Kerala's economic development. But Shashi Tharoor, who has ambitions of his own and who said to me on the campaign trail that possibly his next aspiration was to look at becoming the Chief Minister of Kerala, has also gone on record in a podcast to the Indian Express talking about how even those who do not vote for the Congress vote for Shashi Tharoor. He's also called out flaws in the Congress's strategy, pointing out that both at the national level and the state level, the Congress needs to go beyond its established base if it wants to win any more elections, both nationally and in Kerala. Tharoor, who has in the past been at loggerheads with the Prime Minister, also attracted, as I mentioned, controversy by commenting, as he said, in national interest on the Prime Minister's visit and his meetings with Donald Trump. His seeming praise for the Kerala economic model under the left front government also drew criticism from some of his own party members. But what's going on now? Is Shashi Tharoor set to leave the Congress party? Shashi Tharoor is saying no more. When he was quizzed over the weekend, he would only say, go watch the India-Pakistan cricket match. But he made a point of his own with a fresh tweet today that showed Piyush Goyal, Minister at the Centre, sharing a laugh with left leaders in Kerala, making a point about how economic development must go beyond party lines, reinforcing the fact that that's all he's been doing. Has Shashi Tharoor been sidelined by his own party because he dared to run for Congress president? What's actually going on here? Let's introduce our guest today as we look at the curious case of what Shashi Tharoor might do next. Sanjay Jha is with us. Sanjay Jha is not just a former Congress spokesperson. He's been a passionate fan of Shashi Tharoor. He backed Tharoor when Tharoor ran for the post of party president. And even today, he's taken to social media to directly address Rahul Gandhi for what's going on with Shashi Tharoor. Also joining me is Abhijit Iyer, not known to be a fan, certainly, of the Congress party. I wonder, though, if he may have some praise for Tharoor. We'll find out in just a moment. Also joining us is Rahul Easwar. Rahul Easwar is a fan of the Prime Minister. He's from the state of Kerala and is also a Tharoor fan alongside being a Modi fan. And that's the kind of person or entity that Tharoor was talking about in his Express podcast when he said even those who don't like the Congress do vote for me at the state level. And also joining us is Dilip Cherian. Kerala is also his home state. He's a political analyst and brand guru. Pleasure to see all of you. Sanjay Jha, I'll start with you. Very passionate post on social media today. What's going on? Why is Shashi Tharoor so unhappy? And what does it say about the party that you otherwise defend?
Uh, Frankly, Barkha, I think for a party that has been in opposition for a long time at the center, has been struggling at the states, people have been talking about an existential crisis, which I think is a very, very genuine predicament for the grand old party. For that party to lose or have a disillusioned or a disenchanted asset is, frankly speaking, committing political suicide. Political parties are not an abstraction. They are not like a bricks and mortar structure. Political parties are made of people. And when you, Barkha, look at Shashi, I mean, he's a simply brilliant orator, and more important than oratory skills. I mean, here is a man who understands India's history well, has a view on foreign policy, and can articulate an opinion on subjects that many people can't even contemplate thinking about. Now, for the Congress party, beleaguered, bruised, and battered, Dr. Tharoor has to be treated with, I would say, kid gloves. In fact, I would find ways and means to put him in the forefront. And I can tell you that the trigger for this entire thing is not just these comments made by Dr. Tharoor, where he's always been a little above the typical, partisan politician who's so parochial that they will not praise even one thing of the other side. So he has been accused in the past by the Congress party of being a little generous to the opponents at times when the party feels they should be more at loggerheads. But forget the politics of that. The truth is that Shashi has been feeling marginalized for a long time. And I have personally asked him this question in the times that we have met, that if
Mhm.
I were you, I would never be able to suffer the kind of marginalization that you're facing in the Congress. To give you one example, and I'm being very honest with you, Barkha, he
Yeah.
should have been the voice of the Congress party in the Lok Sabha instead of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. I mean, I did not understand that very obtuse and outrageous choice. And I say so despite knowing that Adhir has fought and won many elections in tough contests in West Bengal and is what a lot of people call as the, Zameen se jude hue Rajneta. That apart, when you come to parliament, I mean, don't forget that he's won 4 Lok Sabha elections, Sashi has. And they have
Mhm.
not been easy wins. And like it or not, I mean, the kind of intellectual and political heft that he brings to the table, I would have treated him as signature or a marquee, brand for the Congress Party. Therefore, I was very amused when I heard that the Congress Party is upset, and obviously the Kerala Congress is going after him because there are certain leaders, I'm not going to name them, who see him
Mhm.
as a potential threat. Because should Kerala go back to the Congress in next year's elections, which I'm still believing that the Congress is being very presumptuous about. They made the mistake in Haryana, they made the mistake in Punjab. You can't be believing that that Kerala is a swing state. It defied those odds in the last assembly election. But politics is about power, and a lot of people believe that Sashi could be a threat to them for the chief ministerial position. And I think what
Yeah.
is worrying Sashi, and rightfully so, is in the conversations within the Congress, they are not even putting up his name as a potential candidate for a chief minister. Now, what happens, we don't know. But the fact remains that Sashi is being kept away from the national mainstream, whatever role the Congress has now as an opposition party, and even in the potential sweepstakes that might come up next year. One last point, I was very disappointed that the Congress did not field Sashi to argue on the debate on the Indian Constitution. I mean, these things to me are absolutely outrageous, and somebody from the Congress needs to speak up, which is why I tweeted to Rahul, because I believe ultimately he will have to take the call.
Very briefly, before I open this up, the Kerala Congress is going after Shashi Tharoor for two reasons. One, in a recent column, Tharoor praised Kerala's economic progress, which some people in the Kerala Congress saw as praise for their main opponent, the LDF government. And two, that when asked about Modi's meeting with Trump, he said, and let's remember also that he's the chair of the parliamentary panel on foreign affairs, but he said, speaking as an Indian, that the meeting seemed to have gone well. And for these two things, he is being roasted. Sanjay, need to unmute Sanjay.
I mean, my whole point, Barkha, is that Sashi is very respected. He is an extremely popular and a public voice, and anything he will say will be not just quoted, will be amplified and probably reach some stratospheric level. But having said that, I think the Congress party has to recognize that he's not your typical dyed-in-wool, the dhoti kurta politician who is going to be belligerent on the opposition day in and night out. He'll have a more nuanced opinion. Like, for example, on Mr. Modi's visit to the United States, there are many things that I think one can criticize him for, and his supporters will find some cherry picking to speak in his favor. Now, for Mr. Tharoor to say that, I think the Congress party is to realize that he will take a more dispassionate, neutral position at times. That's not sacrilege, that's not blasphemy at all. I think these are conversations that politics must actually create. I feel, for example, when Dr. Tharoor says that, he makes the Congress party look like a more, what we call ourselves as supporters as a more liberal, inclusive party that is willing to give Mr. Modi an occasional benefit of doubt. That's okay. Because the rest of the party is anyway criticizing Mr. Modi, right? And that aggregated together has a much higher level of decibel noise. So I don't think the Congress has to be so thin-skinned at all. I believe when you have been in power for 60 years, you're out in the opposition, it's okay. Fight hard, get back.
Yeah. So political suicide, a battered Congress, probably set to lose. We don't know. We don't have official confirmation from Shashi on this. There are rumors about TMC. There are all kinds of other rumors swirling. There are rumors about his own party. Dilip, you've watched politics for a long time. This is also your home state. Is this all about Shashi's interest in becoming Chief Minister of Kerala next, possibly. Because as he said on the Indian Express podcast, he said, even those who do not vote for Congress do vote for me. He does seem to have some amount of self-confidence there. Or is this, as Sanjay said, being left neither here nor there, neither a meaty enough role on the national stage, nor a meaty enough role at state politics? I mean, what's he going to do? Like, he can't keep fighting a Lok Sabha election and being Trivandrum member of parliament.
As someone who's known Shashi for, I would say, 30, 40 years, there are three Ds that define Shashi. He's a debater, he's a diplomat, and he's a Democrat. And I think all three things are, in some senses, anathema to the Congress as it stands today. They don't want to enter debate. They just want to have, diatribe and attack. As a diplomat, he has a far greater and more respected view on matters global than almost anyone in the Congress. And number three, as a Democrat, he understands vote shares, politics, all of that. These are things which don't sit comfortably with the little cabal that seems to be controlling Rahul Gandhi. It's got nothing to do with Kharge. It's got nothing to do with Rahul. It's got to do with his gatekeepers. And I think that is where the discomfort is. The second thing is that what is the future for Shashi? And I know that you're going to come to it later, but I thought it's worth keeping in mind that Shashi actually owns a certain kind of Nair vote, which could possibly, and I'm sure there are others who are better experts than me on this, could actually help him create, if the Congress does not accommodate him with due respect, he could actually become a small party of his own. Because whatever the results in the next election, I think the chances of a 3 or 4 seat party in terms of larger control of the state's narrative is going to be very useful. So I think Shashi has multiple options besides the other national parties who may want to woo him. So I think we need to watch this carefully. And this is a space where Shashi, because of his democratic instincts, will need to do his mathematics, which is not exactly his strong suit, correctly.
Now, before I come to Rahul and Abhijit, when I was on the campaign trail with him in the Lok Sabha election, I did ask him directly, do you want to be Chief Minister of Kerala? What is next for you? I mean, how many times are you going to go through this Lok Sabha election sort of battle? And this is what he had to say. Take a look. But is your long-term plan, your long-term ambition to be the Chief Minister of Kerala one day?
I have not ruled anything out.
Okay.
Not because I ever thought of it. I came into politics with a purely national, international vision. But given the large numbers of very influential figures in Kerala who are insisting I start considering that, I have said, don't tell me now, let me wait till after Lok Sabha election. I will see what the future holds for me then, and then we can decide
That's
whether
almost a yes.
I didn't say it's a yes, I didn't say it's a, but it's not a no.
It's not a no. Rahul, what's going on here? Is this about Kerala Assembly elections? Is this about Shashi saying, okay, how many times am I going to be member of parliament from Tiruvananthapuram?
This is about Barkha asking the right question.
Thank you. Rahul, what's the mood in Kerala on this story?
Barkhaji, 2 submissions. First of all, Shashi Tharoor is something like a Don Bradman or a Sachin Tendulkar in your team. And when the captain decides not to play them and keep them in the bench, that's a loss for the Congress. See, the reality is Shashi Tharoor is a pan-Kerala, pan-India acceptable figure. 2 years back, Muslim League, UDF prominent party, was placing Shashi Tharoor as the CM. Nair Service Society, the prominent upper caste Hindu body, was promoting Shashi Tharoor as the CM. The Christian community leaders were propelling, and the Congress leaders were trying to decrease the momentum. What's in effect happening on the ground is it's a clash between 4 Nairs or 5 Nairs. One is Ramesh Chennithalaji, who is a center right-leaning Nair. VD Sadishan, who is the Nehruvian left liberal Nair. Then we have KC Venugopalji, who is the conscience keeper of Sri Rahul Gandhi. Then we have K. Muralidharan, who is the son of the former Chief Minister of Kerala, Sri K. Karunakaran, who also belongs to the Marar forward community. So it's basically clash between 5 Nayars, with 3 have the more prominent chance. One, Sri VD Sadishan, being the leader of the opposition. He was the Nehruvian left liberal who never even supported us in the Shabarimala agitation when Congress was ready to bring the bill. But thankfully, 2 months back, he went to Shabarimala, took a selfie picture and started posting it. Very, very positive. We welcome it. So, right now people are warming up to the entire situation. And Ramesh Chennittalaji is also being placed by NSS. NSS is a powerful Hindu community organization. So things are heating up. So the competition is going to be mainly between Shashi Tharoor versus Ramesh Chennittala versus VD Sadishan, if that is going to be the equation. And Congress, as we all know, 27% to 29% of Kerala is Muslim community or Muslim brothers. Nearly 17 to 18% or 19% is our Christian community brothers, and nearly 50 to 55% is Hindu, of which nearly 12 to 15% is Nair, 27, nearly 25 to 27 is the Irava community, then the other backward and community. And Shashi Tharoor is a person who is acceptable to all except Congress leadership. That's the fun of it. Except Congress leadership, it is acceptable to all. And Shashi Tharoor has all the potential to become CM. But one thing, I'm a huge fan of Shashi Tharoor. I take offense in Barkha ji introducing Sanjay Jaji as the passionate fan of Shashi Tharoor. I'm much more of a passionate fan of Shashi Tharoor.
Oh my God. Can we come out of these pictures for a second? Because I want to say to you, I introduced you as that exact person whom Shashi Tharoor referred to, who does not vote for Congress, but is a Shashi Tharoor fan.
And this is the space, a huge number of especially Hindu Christian community members who are swinging. Right now, BJP is eyeing for that Nair Nasrani vote, or to be more precise, the forward community Hindu vote and the forward community Christian vote. We are the more of the swing votes. And BJP has the real problem if Shashi Tharoor becomes CM, because the entire social capital they have built up will go back to Congress. So that's the real thing on ground. So BJP will be really afraid if Shashi Tharoor becomes the CM, because the entire capital they have built over, especially the past 10 years, the educated middle class, the forward community.
So the BJP would be happy if he stays in Congress and doesn't become CM, right?
As many friends in BJP will be happy if CPM wins. Because the only space BJP will have is if Congress loses and BJP is going to replace Congress in the long run. Because, the CPM vote is mainly the Hindu backward Irava community vote, the disgruntled Muslim votes who don't vote on Muslim League. So it's a very complex calculation that we are seeing. Hopefully, Shashi Tharoor can create a rainbow kind of a coalition. But Shashi Tharoor sir, one thing is, Shashi Tharoor sir need to connect to ground more, especially Congress workers more. Right now, Kozhikode MP Sri Raghavan is the person who is supporting him big time. So he needs to connect, because he is always the high-flying, flamboyant person. He needs to bring more, rootedness in his campaign, whereas people like Ramesh Chennittalaji or VD Sadishan have more connection to Congress roots.
Okay, you've given us a very granular picture that I think a lot of us sitting here in Delhi were not fully conversant with. Before I come to Abhijit, I want to read just a few comments. I don't know the politics of these people, who they otherwise vote for. Binu Philip, from the name, I think is from Kerala. The real issue, I think, is a sense of unease at the pan-Kerala, pan-India acceptability of Dr. Tharoor. He connects with people far and wide. The others have been warming chairs and see him as a threat. Saurabh Vishis says KC Venugopal will never let Tharoor become the Kerala CM. Tharoor should do a Kevin Rudd and lead some think tank. No regional party can accommodate Tharoor's ambitions. Prasad Duvuri says, Barkha, if the Congress loses Shashi, yes, they will lose him and not the other way. This loss cannot be the same as Sibbal or Ghulam Nabi. This is the loss for the Congress. Hope he stays. Abhijit, I mean, it's very interesting, Rahul's portrait. Rahul seems to suggest that the BJP would prefer that the Vijayan government continues rather than Tharoor comes into play. Tharoor is also a peculiar kind of entity. When Amrinder Singh was in the Congress still, I used to say there are only 2 Congress leaders whom I find BJP urban voters at least seem to connect with. One was Captain Amrinder Singh and the other was Tharoor. Tharoor has often been at the receiving end of sharp criticism from the BJP, in particular when his wife was alive over the whole IPL sort of fracas. But since then, he seems to have decided to transcend playing his politics at a BJP versus Congress level. He has met with the Prime Minister to present a copy of his book. He is fiercely sort of aggressive when he speaks outside India about the Indian position, for example, on British reparations for colonialism. And we're seeing some of those images. And he has also praised Kerala's economic model recently. Now, the Kerala Congress will look at this and say he's flirting with the other side. What would you say?
So, this is a classic case of nihilism versus the diplomat. I'm afraid Congress is going down a deeply nihilistic path where, when the country calls, Congress, BJP, Akali Dal, whatever, does not matter.
Yeah.
When India calls, you stand up for India. Investment in Kerala benefits everybody. You stand up for it. If your Prime Minister has done a good job in DC, you appreciate him for it. Now, this is something that comes very naturally to Shashi Tharoor because he's a trained diplomat. What does a trained diplomat do? You are told to keep your cool in extremely stressful circumstances, no matter what kind of abuse or, opposition you face. You remain calm. You keep talking in calm tones, in a calm voice. And in doing that, you expand your own positives. If you extrapolate this to politics, this is what he's talking about. He says that we only have 19% of the vote. You need to be calm and quiet, do things that do not alienate people. And that is where you can go expand your vote to 26, 27%, where the real returns on investment start showing. Nobody in the Congress seems to be interested in that. Rahul seems to be very interested in, turning the Congress into some kind of a party of Rottweilers. And Shashi Tharoor is not a Rottweiler, you see. He's the kind of golden retriever that goes around literally. I mean, he's quite golden retrieverish in that sense. He goes around, makes friends with everybody. I would also disagree with Rahul. I think with our Rahul here, Easwar, not Rahul Gandhi. He does have ground connect. I've seen him campaign. He goes into every single house. He connects with absolutely everybody on the ground. Remember, not only did he win 4 elections, he won each one of the first 3 of those elections with greater margins every single time, even when the Congress was facing a wipeout nationally. It was only in the last election against Rajiv Chandrasekhar that the vote came down a bit. But that is because the opponent was a particularly formidable opponent, right? Now, I think there is also the issue of image out here. There is a belief that somehow, for some reason, that somebody suave and sophisticated cannot have ground connect, and somebody who has ground connect cannot be suave and sophisticated. I think Shashi Tharoor proves you can be both in the same package. He is both Rajya Sabha material and he is Lok Sabha material. I think he's proven that time and again. And I think if the Congress has any chance of winning Kerala, the state assembly, it has to be under Shashi Tharoor. I'm yet to see, I'm sure Ramesh Channitala and Muralidharan and people like that have their own charm and things like that. But if you're going to get the maximum number of people on board, a broad-based community support, there is no better person than Shashi Tharoor to get that. My problem is, does Rahul understand that, or do Rahul's gatekeepers? I realize it's a gatekeeper problem, but see, it's very easy to dismiss it as a gatekeeper problem. Who chooses those gatekeepers? The particular set of gatekeepers are particularly vicious, and they have been handpicked and selected by Rahul for a very specific reason.
Yeah. So this is a very important point, and let me get Rahul Easwar before I get Sanjay Jha and Dilip Cherian. Rahul Easwar, you made this comment about he's a bit high flying, he needs to be more rooted. Abhijit makes the important point that Shashi Tharoor, yes, he could be seen as a sort of elite, right? He could be seen as a liberal elite, but in fact, in the winning of his 4 Lok Sabha elections, especially the last one, where there was, there was a very strong southern push by the BJP, right? And he still held on to his seat. That shows that he does have that connect. You would say what?
I would agree with Abhijit ji, absolutely. See, my point was a bit more nuanced. He has a good people connect because he's charming, he gets to people, but he has a slight issue with Congress ground level people connect. For example, I'll give you a very a very direct example. When unfortunately the controversy regarding Sunanda Pushkar ma'am and Shashi Tharoor sir was going on, I was defending him on national television. I was defending him against all the falsehoods and misinformation that was being spewed against him. Their first joint interview, Shashi Tharoor sir and Sunanda ma'am's first joint interview was given to me. You will be surprised to know, when I used to attend 3 to 4 discussions per day, I call some of the Congress people to defend him. And many Congress people were having two minds to defend him. I told it is an open lie. Everyone knows what happened was unfortunate, and many people were calling him a murderer. You shouldn't do it. But the Congress people was reluctant. I even found many people, BJP Delhi walas were more kind and more, having a positive attitude towards Tharoor sir rather than the Congress. See, Congress many times lack that centralized ideology, the Gandhian soul, or whatever you want to call it. And many times that Congress workers don't have that collective consciousness. The issue with Shashi Tharoor sir connects with people. Absolutely, yes, I agree with it. But downward, the Congress people or the Congress workers on the ground, they are more factionalism. There is Group I, there is Group A, there is various community groups, even though they don't tell that name. There are various leader caucuses, circling around so many people. The same point was raised by Sri K. Muralidharan, who said people may be voting for us, but those who get the people to vote are the Congress workers. So Tharoor sir needs to build a network of Congress workers who will cheer for him in a big way. That needs to be a pressure inside the Congress supporting him. People will obviously support Tharoor sir, because it will be pride for me to say that I'm coming from Kerala, where we have a Chief Minister, Shashi Tharoor is there. I'm absolutely sure beyond BJP, Congress or CPM, people will feel that way. At the same point of time, that Congress gatekeepers or whatever you want to call it, inside Congress, you need to have more people rooting for Tharoor.
Sorry, I muted myself by mistake. I think this point about gatekeepers is an interesting one, because Dilip mentioned it. Rahul Easwar mentioned it. But, Dilip, you said it's not to do with Rahul Gandhi. But this marginalization of Shashi Tharoor goes back to the immediate aftermath of him running for Congress president. And it will create the impression in the minds of the larger public that Tharoor is being punished, penalized for daring to run for the post of Congress president, which was not endorsed by the Gandhis. So effectively, he took on that sort of Gandhian hegemony, that unspoken hegemony, or even spoken hegemony, and that's what he's being punished for. Are we being disingenuous by talking about gatekeepers? The Gandhis could stop this. The Gandhis could stop this.
I don't think we are. No, I don't think we are. I agree that it's worth analyzing it in that framework. But the problem is that Rahul is dependent on his gatekeepers to tell him that Shashi is not popular with his own ground troops in Kerala. That is wrong. The problem is that Rahul is overcompensating that Shashi is the kind of person who has access to him and who can speak with him as a colleague. And I think that while the family may oppose that, I think Rahul is bigger than that from what I have seen. There may be other opinions on this, of course, but I do know that Rahul is susceptible to the kind of data sheet that his core team will give him, saying that Shashi tends to make Congress workers bristle. He does because, as Rahul Easwar said, there is the slightly elitist, super Nair kind of tone to what Shashi says, but that is because of who he is. We've got to love him for what he is. And I think that Rahul's failure is in actually taking data points from his team who have vested interest in feeding him with the wrong data points.
Let's take that to Sanjay Jha. Sanjay, you addressed Rahul Gandhi directly in your long post on X today. What are you hoping Rahul Gandhi would do at this point? And let's now come to what we think Tharoor is going to do. What we think is, Tharoor is going to do next. There has been for long a whisper, even before the Lok Sabha elections, that the Trinamool Congress made an offer to Shashi Tharoor. I think we're all politically connected enough to know that this is accurate. We've also seen the TMC, very interestingly, holding a convention in Kerala in the midst of this rift, right? So all of that is going on. Do you believe that Tharoor will switch parties? Because I see no reason, though in the Express podcast, he said, I have other things. I have books, I have my speeches. He's not going to walk away from politics without trying something different. Now, when you are appealing to Rahul Gandhi, what is it that you want Rahul Gandhi to do at this stage, or do you think the metaphorical horse has bolted the stable and Shashi Tharoor is set to either form his own party or join the Trinamool Congress? Sanjay, you're muted at your end. Could you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah. Barkha, first in lighter vein to my friend Rahul Easwar here. I hope he won't get very agitated, but a lot of people call me the Shashi Tharoor of Ghatkopar here in Mumbai. So, I mean, he'll have to handle that. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or otherwise, but that's one of the jokes around. Uh,
Okay.
but on a serious note, Barkha, I
Yeah.
do believe that the Congress party has to realize that historically and ideologically is meant to be the big tent party. I'll give you one example. When the Congress suspended me as a spokesperson before suspending me from the party, the RSS's organizer reached out to me for an interview. And they were very clear that, we are only asking you questions because you have said some things about India's principal opposition party. We would like you to
Yeah.
respond to that. And I did. And I did. Not because, I am a big critique of the politics of Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, but
Did we did we just lose Sanjay there? We lost Sanjay there. Okay. But I swear, Sanjay, we didn't throttle you, we didn't silence you. Sanjay was trying to make the point about how the Congress needs to be a Big Ten party, and I'm sure he'll reconnect and elaborate on that. Abhijit, do you want to come in on that? Rahul Easwar is a sort of known Modi fan who likes Tharoor. You are a known, I would say, Gandhi family critic. I don't know if you would accept being described as a fan of the Prime Minister, but yes. Are you a fan of Shashi Tharoor? Abhijit Iyer with
Big time. I'm a big time fan of Shashi Tharoor. Had I been in Thiruvananthapuram, I would have no issues voting for him. Of course,
Okay,
I'm from Palakkad. I'm not from Thiruvananthapuram, but
right.
had I
So we
been from
have so we have three people from Kerala on this show. I should flag that. But go ahead.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but look, the Congress has always been the big tent. I
Hmm.
never had any issues voting for the Congress up to about 2009 or so, right?
Hmm.
What has happened to the Congress since then? And this is where I'm going to disagree with Dilip.
Hmm.
I know many mutual friends who have left the Congress who had that same equation with Rahul, that they could go up to him and tell him ABC, matter of factly, criticize him or criticize something within the party. Uh,
Hmm.
all of them got cold shouldered. All of them got, I won't say blacklisted, but completely stonewalled.
Yeah.
Some of them, he went on asking them, tell me, tell me, tell me. And finally, when they told him, he wouldn't pick up their calls anymore. I think the crux of the problem is actually very much Rahul Gandhi. It is coming direct from the top. The
Hmm.
gatekeepers are simply reflecting what the master wants. They are
Hmm.
not running some parallel government. The same thing used to happen with Jayalalitha and Shashikala. Do you remember that? Oh, it's not Jayalalitha who's bad, it's Shashikala who's bad. This goes back always to all your, Hansel and Gretel and all those fairy tales. The
Hmm.
king can never be bad. It's always the people around him who are bad. It's not
Yeah.
Modi who wants all these taxes and socialist policies. It's all the evil people around Modi who want all these taxes
Hmm.
and socialist policies. You see, this is not the way life works. We have tangible examples. Jyotiraditya Scindia, Milind Deora, people who were very, very close to Rahul Gandhi who got cut out for this. This is
Hmm.
very much Rahul Gandhi talking. And I'll tell you why. This is classic resource competition. This is a 170, 180, maybe up to 200 party, which is
Hmm.
now tottering in double digits.
Hmm.
99 is still a double digit party.
Hmm.
In that party, there is only room for one person to shine. And that has to be Rahul Gandhi. It doesn't matter how many makeovers and do-overs you do with him. He's in perpetual need of
Hmm.
a queer eye for the straight guy or whatever makeover show you want for the gentleman. He never seems to learn. And this is why, even the people chosen in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha to speak are uninspiring people who simply can't carry forward the great parliamentary tradition.
I agree with a lot of what you've said, but there's an interesting question from our audience, Prasad. If Amit Shah can meet Parvesh Verma to manage him in Delhi, nothing wrong with Rahul to do the same with Shashi. Now, this is an interesting point. The BJP seems to get away by not necessarily promoting their strongest, most charismatic asset, right? We are criticizing the Congress right now for not doing that with Tharoor. But actually, if I think about the BJP in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Rajasthan, and now in Delhi, the BJP does get away with not always promoting its most charismatic, successful asset. What is the difference, Abhijit? And then Rahul
There's a,
also. Yeah.
there's a very big difference. In the
Hmm.
BJP, especially in the BJP, the power comes if you were in the RSS. And if you came from the RSS, it's never about showing yourself. It is
Hmm.
all about subsuming yourself to the greater common good. The most powerful people from the RSS always remain faceless, nameless, etc., etc. With Pravesh Verma, I'm not going to say this on a public platform, but there were huge issues with his candidature. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, he is known as a certain type within the BGP. I'm not going to elaborate on that. Please don't ask me to elaborate on that.
Off camera, off camera, off camera.
Off camera,
Yes.
there were certain videos that were released that were associated
Hmm.
with him and things like that. So, he brought a whole load of baggage out there. Now,
Hmm.
you take the BJP, which is values self-effacing, which values you being in the shadow. That is the BJP RSS culture out there. The
Hmm.
Congress is something which has always been a big tent of big leaders, larger than life, big characters, great fun to hang out with.
Hmm.
The BJP leaders are not types who you'll go for a single malt and kebabs with, right? They are more like the khichdi and aam panna types. The Congress ones are the single
Poor,
malt.
poor BJP. Why is the
But
BJP
it's
being
true.
denied
I mean,
single
I'm
malt?
saying stereotypes here, but come along. It is
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So the Congress types are these big-hearted, are a single malt pio beta kind of types. I mean, you went to Sheila Dikshit's house. The first thing she would ask you is "Beta khana khaya," and then she'd force feed you, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a different kind of Congress culture, which has these big personalities who
Yeah.
need to be accommodated, who are actually very, very good generals.
Yeah.
They bring in that synergy. Each one of them is a five, but when say 5 plus 5 come together in these Congress big leaders cases, it
Yeah.
becomes a 25 or a 30, right?
Yeah.
And the Congress needs to understand it is a very different beast from the BJP. What works for the BJP does not work for the Congress, and vice versa.
Yeah. So Sanjay,
Just
when we sorry, Rahul Easwar, and we lost Sanjay, but we'll come back to him. Rahul Easwar, go ahead.
no, just one thing to add. Congress is doing the same mistake with Shashi Tharoor ji, what they did with Pranab Kumar Mukherjee. Pranab Kumar Mukherjee was a person who was acceptable across the aisle. Modi ji really knew it. Modi ji always warmed up to him. Pranab Kumar Mukherjee would have been a great prime minister, and even a person like Manishankar Iyer ji admitted, very recently that he could have been given the rein because he was a firefighter. He was a person who was politically more savvy. So Shashi Tharoor is a politically savvy person. It's Congress loss if they are not going to use him because of the internal squabbles. Everyone around Congress knows this.
Sanjay, when we lost you, what you were talking about was the Congress being a big tent party, but we moved on from there to talk about basically how gatekeepers is a euphemism or a shield in not wanting to put the blame at Rahul Gandhi's door, right? Since you have tweeted Rahul Gandhi directly, is the problem that Shashi Tharoor has as much of a personality, or for a lot of people outside the Congress, more of a presence than Rahul Gandhi? Is that the problem? Is that the problem?
Well, Barkha, let me be very honest. I'm very cynical and skeptical about this gatekeeper criticism for the simple reason that a leader chooses the gatekeeper. And a leader is
Absolutely.
not oblivious of the political reality that a gatekeeper can mislead you. Now, I have since I've worked with, both in my corporate and political side at different levels, it is very understandable for a political leader or a CEO to surround himself with the people he or she trusts. Nothing wrong with that, right? Because everyone has confidants in the people that you rely on, or the people that you believe can actually give you the advice that, will be constructive and helpful for you. The problem is that when you listen only to the gatekeepers and you do not directly engage with people or with other organizational heads to get your own feedback, that's the problem. And I always feel that, when you hear stories about many leaders not getting an appointment, for example, to meet Rahul, for instance, I remember meeting Mr. Kapil Sibal at a time when we were all in the Congress, by the way. I remember Kapil and I were in Nagpur for an event, and I was telling him that we could do better, and he was like, I haven't met Rahul for the last 2 years, and I was shocked. And I was like, aren't you fighting out the National Herald case for and actually it's not just the Congress, it's also the Gandhi family. And why wouldn't you be met, of all people? Because you've been around in Delhi, I can say I'm living in Mumbai, blah, blah, blah. I said, you're in Delhi, you're a hotshot legal luminary, whatnot. And he was like, but hey, that's the truth. And I, for the life of me, could not fathom. And I said it to Shashi. I've said it to Shashi, I'm telling you upfront. I said, Shashi, how can somebody like you, with the kind of knowledge, intellect, the entire wherewithal that you bring to the table, how are you able to suffer this neglect, pretty apparent neglect by the Congress leadership, with such humility? I would struggle to do that, to be very frank, which is why, Barkha, if you notice, I was the first guy who raised the red flag and said, listen, guys, we got a problem, because
Okay,
nobody
so
else was willing to speak up. Yeah.
I think you've been very straightforward. Gatekeepers is just sorry to say a BS argument. I mean,
Yeah.
what does it mean? It's playing out in public domain. You're the boss. You can stop it.
Yeah.
It's just
You should know.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You should know. Kya, it's happening in front of you. You cannot make
Yeah.
this about KC Venugopal.
Yeah.
Last comments. What do we think he's going to do next? Right? Is he joining the TMC? Is he forming his own party? Is he going to sit in the Congress and let this drag out? Any educated guesses? I'll start with you, Rahul, Easwar, then Abhijit and Sanjay. Rahul, what do you think he's going to do?
Whether
I
he
can't
will
hear.
leave the party because I doubt
Yeah.
whether he will leave the party, because the best possibility is Congress itself. After 2 terms of LDF, even many communist and left-leaning people says that we want some kind of a change. But if they can accommodate Shashi Tharoor sir in a big way, Muslim League and Kerala Congress stand is going to be the crucial one, rather than the Congress. What Muslim League and the Kerala Congress is going to do, because they have always been the champions of whatever the core decision makers, they have also been a part. So apart from these 5 Nair leaders, who is going to lead is going to be a collective call. Maybe discussions like this will go a long way, and we will see the situation evolving in the next 6 months.
So you don't expect anything immediate, Rahul?
I don't expect him to go out. I don't expect him to go out. Absolutely.
Interesting. Abhijit, is that your sense? Because I mean, I don't know. The point is, Shashi Tharoor joining the Trinamool Congress. The Trinamool Congress has no presence in Kerala. The Trinamool Congress tried this in Goa. And Shashi Tharoor has nothing to do in Bengal. So whatever Shashi Tharoor does next, either has to be national or Kerala.
Agreed. I don't think it's going to be the TMC, except we need to remember that, Mamta Di has this great love of turning people from all over the country into TMC Rajya Sabha MPs. But I
Yes.
think it will be quite sad to see Shashi Tharoor go the Rajya Sabha route.
Yeah.
Because
Why
I
would he want to? Why would he want it?
wasted, because the moment you get into Rajya Sabha, the tag becomes, this is a guy who can't win elections, and this is a man who's consummately able to win elections quite clearly, right? Um, Personally, I'd love it if he joined the BJP. I know he's not going to join the BJP.
Yeah.
I think he's just gonna. I agree with Rahul. I think he's gonna stick it out in the Congress. He's just gonna accept his political marginalization and become much more active in terms of academia and the literary world. And he's beloved in that. He's celebrated in that. Why would you not go to people who cherish you and celebrate you, instead of people that view you with suspicion and ye idhar ki baat udhar karna kind of gossip
Yeah.
mongering about him all the time?
Yeah. So, Sanjay, do you agree with Rahul and Abhijit that you don't see Shashi making an immediate switch? Sanjay, are you there? Sanjay is having network problems today. Well, I think the question hangs in the air. I don't think Sanjay can hear us. Both Abhijit and Rahul seem to think that despite the fact that Shashi Tharoor is publicly now unhappy and he's made no secrets about it, the lack of options, the lack of good options politically, options that he can justify, and that's why I think the BJP won't be one of them, because he's had a consistent set of statements on how he thinks about the BJP's politics, but odder things have happened in politics, never say never. But at the moment, we're thinking not an immediate change. This is going to drag out for a while, and we'll wait and see what happens next. Thank you so much, Rahul, Abhijit, Sanjay, and earlier to Dilip, Cherian. Thank you, and to our audience, thank you, and see you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.